Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kol Elohim La, Adonai Yahweh, Ba'ashem Shamalak Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakadash, double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, peace, citation, hope for elect, Hapa Shamalak Dawadah, the house of King David, answer the fusion of faces that look like the teeth of nations, but then he goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the royal holy chosen Selah, Shalom. And the title of this video is going to be Men in the World Will Be Like Woman in Jacob's Trouble. I may maybe take out a word or so, change it, but I'm gonna mostly name it something to that effect, or maybe just keep the title like that. Because I don't really want to use too much offensive words because Esau, he's a bitch, and sometimes what brothers use like rude speech in their titles, what Esau do, I've seen it before. Brothers even mention it too, where Esau will take down the videos, for no reason, for that specific reason. So it's like Esau's a bitch, So you just gotta play it smart, like the Lord said. You gotta be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, because in actuality, men that don't have the Lord in these days, they're gonna be as bitches, y'all gonna be like women, y'all gonna be like fucking little girls, and these bitches out there that act all crazy, they're gonna be like little puppies in that day. But this is mostly talking about the men that claim that they're tough, that claim that they're big and bad, and they don't understand the time period that we're coming into when it's coming to Jacob's trouble. So like when you look right here at Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 14, it says, the great day of the Lord is near, it is near, and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. You see? And the mighty man, like, pretty much what you would consider as a mighty man would be somebody who's pretty much like a military, in the military, somebody that's a soldier, in the military, somebody that's militant, you know what I mean? Someone who's a fighter, like an MMA fighter, a pro boxer, so on and so forth, or pro, Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter, something to that effect, you know what I mean? Yeah, people that you will see as black belts, being maybe a first dan all the way to maybe a grandmaster dan or something like that. Well, for you to even be a grandmaster, you have to be old, and even then, like, when you're that old, you wouldn't really have that much of that physical strength, especially if you pretty much don't have a good diet, as the Bible pretty much tells you to have that diet. But that's just title for another lesson. But you get the point. Because I'm not gonna hold you. You see some martial arts masters that be old as hell, and some of them, it's like they know the martial arts, they know the moves and everything, but it's like they can't do certain things that younger people could do, because the younger ones, I'll say, like in your martial arts and stuff, like you'll mostly be in your prime, and you're like maybe you're like your mid to late 20s, when you have certain experiences, and you have black belts that like to show off a lot, in their early 20s. They say you're the age of being the most mature man is like in your 30s, and I feel like that's true, because you have people that's in their 20s that still act like they're in their teens. So, but I don't want to get too off topic, but right there is saying, like, anybody that thinks that they're such a big and bad guy, you think you are a triple OG, or from a single to double to triple OG, or quadruple if possible, or if you think you are you're the head boss, you a kingpin, you are a general, a major general in the military, it don't matter what you are. If you bodybuilder, powerlifter, it don't matter. Which most likely, bodybuilders, powerlifters, they can't really like they can't really fight effectively because they spend most of the time on lifting unless they kind of do like, I guess CrossFit exercises in terms of like doing some martial arts training or something like that. But even then they will burn out quickly because they spend most of the time, doing lifting. But, you know, all that lifting ain't gonna really help you in Jacob's trouble, you know what I mean? So, and mind you, you need energy to eat, to get food and stuff like that. Like, you need that energy to, like, from the food that you eat. And we're gonna have a famine. So, how you gonna exercise in that day? Exactly. And your muscles, like they say, if you don't use it, you lose it. So if you don't do like somewhere near the same workouts you've been doing to keep those muscles to sustain it and to keep it like, growing, you're gonna lose it. You know? So yeah. You become weaker over time as the more you don't use your muscles, and that's how it is. And then a lot of people would think that they're so big and bad because of how they are now. I'm like, yeah, just wait till you get to Jacob's trouble. And mind you, and this be Jake too. They be thinking, even Esau, he gonna be a bitch in that day too. But Esau, for the most part, gonna be bitching you, Jake, especially the Edomites in the military, because they're gonna be having technology that is way beyond your understanding and shit like that. And it tells you in verse 15 that day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds of thick darkness, a day of trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities, against the towers, the high towers. So yeah, and I will bring distress upon men that they shall walk like blind men because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. And it even tells you verse 18 that the money ain't gonna save you in that day. Gold and silver, and that's actual valuable money. So if Esau already took away the most valuable money and made that shit like what, for an ounce of gold, like it's like about 2 bands, almost going to 3 bands, if I'm not mistaken. But it's hella expensive, and then silver is like what, for an ounce, maybe like a 500 to like a band. Yeah, but silver and gold, that's actually valuable money. And that's what the prophets had back in those days. We had valuable money back then. But now it's like Esau took all that shit away. And only like rich people are able to have that, So, and it really shows you right there that this is the Most High. When he brings about Jacob's trouble, he's going to bring about so much calamity. It's going to be a time that never was once before. This is another good scripture for Jacob's trouble. It says, Jeremiah 30 verse 6, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Where do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And that he is representing the the elect that's going to be saved out of it. And then when you look at the what you call it, you 2/3, y'all are done, man. And all you guys out there, you're gonna be so scared. And if you're a simp, it's like you ain't gonna be saving a woman from a situation because you're gonna be so scared. You're gonna be, trying to save your life more than you save a woman's life. You know what I mean? And according to Ezekiel 9, that prophecy, that's gonna happen again on a much worse scale, where the Most High send the death angels to kill the 2/3, and basically he didn't allow them to kill the elect at that time, the 1/3. He's gonna do it again, and this time he's gonna do it on a much worse scale, because this is gonna be a time period, like I said, that has never once in history ever been recorded. It's gonna be doubled. The amount of affliction is gonna be doubled compared to what we experience in the transatlantic slave trade, what we experience in all the past slaveries, what we experience in 70 AD. People are not prepared for this. People are mostly partying a lot, going to bars, drinking and smoking weed and all that other shit. These niggas, they're not really prepared for what's coming. And that's the thing. Esau is just gonna really come at you with the knockout punch. You know. And while Jake is mostly partying, you got Edomites out there actually, and these other heathens as well. They're actually saving up their money, preparing for things like this, getting electric generators. They don't sell electric generators for no reason. Even though, like I said, the stuff that you stock up for could be for the next man that kills you, honestly. So that's why you have to mostly trust in Yahweh Shem Yashar. But you should always have something, if you have the money and stuff like that, try to learn how to save and make your money and stuff like that. If you have it, just don't think it's everything, but just try to work with what you got, you know what I mean? And hopefully the Lord, and just keep most of your faith in the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shem Yashar. Because then again, he tells you not to tempt him, so whatever you could possibly do that will help you keep you moving on and sustain you, just do it. But just don't think that's everything, And a lot of people, they don't really understand, like, the Lord is, he's not really playing, He's going to bring it to a real horrible time, that never once was before. And a lot of these men out here, they're going to be like little bitches in that day. And they're going to be rocking in the corner with a teddy bear and a thumb in their mouth. That's how bad it's going to be. You're going to see actual, like, fourth dimensional, like, things that you've never seen before in your life. You're going to see fourth dimensional, interdimensional beings, basically. Like angels and demons. You're going to see them. And a lot of people really don't understand that angels are actually terrifying to look upon. Scripture said, you will bow down, you will jump on the floor and put your face to the floor if you've seen an angel, or if you just seen like maybe a peek of their presence or so. If it wants to show you, like, because even John the Baptist, he fell and he was about to go kneel to the angel, and the angel said, no, don't bow to me, I'm your servant. So yeah, that's how horrible their presence is. And they said that they're your servant, like if you're an Israelite, honestly, especially the elect. And that's what he told, like, John the Baptist. And there's stories in the Bible where, like, people, like, have, they seen the angel and they said they had a terrible countenance. Exactly. And you're gonna see most of these angels and stuff like that, and demons and stuff like that too. They're gonna be coming out the woodwork, and they're gonna be basically, manifesting themselves and doing judgment. Especially demons too. They're gonna be doing that as well. And a lot of people that they fear the left hand side more than they fear the right hand side, but they don't understand the right hand side is controlling the left hand side. The right hand side calls the shots on the left hand. All the orders that comes from the right hand side, the left hand side must obey. Yep. So a lot of people really don't understand that, and they fear they fear demons more than they fear Yahweh Shem Yashar. And the thing is that that's what the Most High is gonna do. He's gonna send your worst fears upon you. And this is what will happen if you don't have the power of Yahweh Shem Yashar within you. He said in Ezekiel 7:17, verse 17, all hands shall be feeble and all knees shall be weak as water. They shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame shall be upon all faces, and baldness upon all their heads. And verse 19 talks about the same thing that verse Zephaniah, the first chapter, was talking about, where people will, cast their, the gold and the silver is not going to mean nothing to them. So they're going to have to cast it in the streets and shit like that. They're going to have to do away with it, because people are going to mostly be worried about how they're going to satisfy their hunger. They're not going to be worried about the luxury or the fashion and shit like that. That shit don't mean nothing when your ass can't, barely eat, And look what happened in the famine of Samaria. And the famine will naturally make you weak, because obviously you need food to sustain your health and to keep, like, if you're a person that works out a lot, You need to work out. When you work out more, you tend to eat more. You know what I mean? So yeah, because your body requires that energy. You know, and that's how you get your muscles to grow more and repair faster and stuff like that. So that time, people are not gonna be worried about those things. People are gonna be mostly worried about how to, survive, how to try to basically get to the next step of their life, you know. And Jacob's trouble is gonna be a point where you don't even know if you're gonna live the next day. That's how bad it's gonna be. You know, people in America, they're not used to these type of things. They're not used to that. You know, they don't know what it's like to live in a second world, a third world country. For the most part, the third world country, they don't know what it's like to live like that. You know, they're used to it. You know, Americans are spoiled. Americans are, pretty much pampered compared to these other countries, and what for the most part, these other jigs that to go through in these third world countries and shit like that. Yeah, they're not used to that. And that's where the Most High is going to really sneakily uppercut them through Esau. Going to give you that knockout punch. Because Esau is going to do all these things. He's going to set all these things up. You know? So it's like Esau making you comfortable right now just to pretty much to give you one rude ass awakening. And it's like, you know how when you get woken up in the night and out of nowhere, it's like shit, you feel like damn. Like, you feel so fucked up. It's like you wasn't prepared for that. You wasn't ready for that. And that's how the Most High is. He's gonna set you up for that, because it's like people in this world, they're not trying to be prepared for this truth. They're not. And these are the same guys pretty much that are so quick to pretty much stick their head up a woman's ass instead of sticking their head up in the knowledge and understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, because I'd rather have my brain on my head, mainly in this knowledge and this truth to keep me stable. So, when you put your trust in Yahweh Shem Yahshai, what he gonna do? He gonna bless you. He said, seek first the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, and everything else shall be added unto you. Basically, what is everything else? All the blessings. First is gonna be the blessings that's gonna keep you sustained from the judgment of Jacob's trouble. Like, you're gonna be able to, you're not gonna be. You may go through some of the judgment stuff like that, yeah, but you're gonna be delivered out of it quick, and you're gonna be basically protected and comforted. That's why the Lord said the heathen shall envy us, and they can't do nothing against us in that day. And that's talking about the elect. We're gonna be protected in that day, not the 2/3. They gotta go. And basically, when it's coming to Jacob's trouble, these 2/3, since they rejected the truth, they're just gonna have to die horribly. They're gonna die grievous deaths, and only a small remnant is gonna be saved, because only a few people is gonna understand this truth, and it's only compared to how much men die out there, is gonna be only a few men out there to be saved. That's gonna be part of the 1/3. Because even though the 144,000 is straight men, you're gonna have some of the 1/3 that's gonna be part of the 1/3 and not part of the 144,000. Yeah, it's gonna be possible. But for the most part, most of the 1/3 make up women, and most of the 2/3 same way make up women. Mostly women, and it's like they pretty much gonna 2/3 are just gonna have to die horribly. And it's like, when it's coming to a woman, she needs protection in that day, so she's gonna need a man of the Lord. They're gonna be looking for that. And even you fucking women that claim y'all hard, y'all tough, y'all fighters, y'all soldiers, y'all in the military, all that bullshit, claiming y'all dykes and all that, y'all gangbangers, y'all gonna be fucking y'all gonna be like little puppies in that day. Yep. Jacob's trouble gonna humble y'all asses. Yep. And for a man of the Lord, you're gonna be begging for that protection. Y'all could put it on your moms that how much of a guy you think you are. You know, you're gonna be humbled in that day. You're gonna know what it's like to be a little girl, a good girl, matter of fact. That's what you're gonna know. You're gonna feel it and you're gonna know what it's like to be a good girl. And those uh, guys that been in jail for all that time, they haven't seen a woman in a while. You know how much men they have raped in jail? How much more when they see a fucking female, especially even if you're a dyke. And if you're the most beautiful female at that time, that's a curse. So if the Most High, in that day helping you, a woman out there that be wishing that you have a fat ass and a nice titties to be a whore and a slut, yeah, man. If it happens, you don't think it's a blessing. It's gonna turn to one hell of a curse, and you're gonna have to use that body to get the little piece of food that you're gonna basically you're gonna have to be pretty much sold for food. You're gonna have to use your body to get whatever food that you could get to sustain yourself, like plate of food or whatever. That man said he want to do your ass for 2 hours or an hour. You're gonna have to do it. That's how it's gonna be. So yeah, and there ain't gonna be no simps to basically look out for you women that much, because a lot of men are gonna be cold in that day because they see a lot of wickedness you women be doing. So I know some brothers be mentioning some scenarios where some simps might take you. I mean, yeah, it could be possible. Like some simps might, they might try to take you, some of you women and shit like that. But for the most part, many of them are gonna die. Because if they don't have the Lord dealing with them, they're gonna die. Or some of them might be so afraid they might not even try to take you in because they're gonna be like, I can't do it. Because they're gonna know that you women are gonna be the number one most wanted in that time of Jacob's trouble for all these men to pretty much get inside you. Like I said, you have men that haven't touched a woman in decades, bro, in jail. Yeah, that's how serious it is. And Most High gonna recompense the same wickedness that you women been doing to men upon you with these wicked ass men. It's gonna be judgment upon judgment. Yeah. So yeah, but I don't want to make this lesson too long. Just made it, it's already long. So hope we made the lesson and the final to give all glory, praise, honor to Adonai Yahweh, Bashem, Shamalak, Yahushua, Bashem, Kakadash, Tabana, to the apostles, and the elders, great millstone, he citation, hope for let, Yahweh, Shem, Shash, Lakoryam, Adawam, Yambwa, Goyambwa, Ababa, Shalom.